Hello everybody, welcome to the Gyrocopter Flying Club. One common complaint about this channel is I reinforce the safety message about a topic or snag that the complainant doesn't really think exists. The common one for gyroplane pilots are around the takeoff and landing accidents, and particularly with takeoff issues, most people think that bad handling is nothing more that a few hours or months spent wheel balancing can't sort out. And it may likely be the case. But the truth is, aside from the benefit of training and seat time, these accidents likely still happen. Why? Well, as I've spoken about many times before, it's all about mental capacity and what is often termed in aviation accident reports, human factors. I'm going to give you a little story that reminded me just how the very brightest minds get snagged. You might be familiar with these types of road sign. Nothing remarkable if you're in a foreign land at the rental desk, and likely Hertz Avis happily invest in such signage and filter the traffic quite deliberately at airports to mitigate any errors. Yes, obviously, those on holiday need such signage. But what if you were at every junction with a policeman to helpfully hold your hand and guide you onto the right side of the road? Oh, we pilots would be outraged. I mean, come on, we're highly trained and skillful men. And that was before we even sat in an aircraft. Come on, it's turn left, turn right, stay on your side of the road. What could possibly go wrong? Well, sadly, quite a lot. And in a moment you can hear one story as it was told at the time. But a highly trained military intelligence agent simply left the base one day to drive home, head full of her day, no doubt driving home to see her own children, except her mind had defaulted and now she was driving on the wrong side of the road. No visual cues changed her perception. That was until she hit a small boy on his motorbike. She hit him head on and the boy was killed outright. So you see, if it can snag an intelligent military intelligence agent just going home from work in a car that she's done thousands of times before, and the only mistake is driving on the wrong side of the road, a mistake can easily happen with a more complex process done less often by the average mind. Fly safely.
We are going to begin this half hour with the parents of the British teen killed in that crash with an American diplomat's wife arriving in the U.S., searching for answers. The parents opened a meeting with the woman face to face. Eva Pilgrim joins us now. And Eva, British officials now saying her diplomatic immunity is no longer relevant?
That's right, Robin. That is what they are saying this morning. And the teen's parents are here in the U.S. hoping to get that woman to go back to the U.K. to answer questions. There is still the possibility she could end up answering those questions in a court of law.
This morning, the parents of Harry Dunn, the English teen killed in a head-on car crash with a U.S. diplomat's wife, flying from the U.K. to the U.S., demanding answers. On August 27th, 19-year-old Harry Dunn was driving on his motorbike when he was hit by a car driving on the wrong side of the road. The driver of that vehicle, this woman, 42-year-old Ann Sakoulis, the wife of a U.S. diplomat. Dunn died instantly. Police say Sakoulis initially cooperated, but days after the accident, she fled the country, returning to the U.S., claiming diplomatic immunity, which protects diplomats and their family members from prosecution or lawsuits under the host nation's laws.
I can't believe she's living with herself doing this. How can you just be like that? Just get on a plane and go.
How can she be allowed to?
But now, 7 weeks after the crash, the UK Foreign Secretary saying that immunity is no longer relevant because she has returned home. This weekend, Sakoulis breaking her silence, saying in a statement from her attorneys that she is cooperating with police and wants to meet with the family to apologize in person. Anne is devastated by this tragic accident. No loss compares to the death of a child, and Anne extends her deepest sympathy to Harry Dunn's family. Dunn's family responding, saying that while they are open to meet, the pain hasn't gone away.
My opinion on Anne Secoulis now wanting to come forward to say sorry. To be perfectly honest, yes, it's a start of some closure for our family. But having said that, as it's nearly 7 weeks now since we lost our boy, this doesn't cut it. It's not really quite enough.
And the Dunn family lawyer telling us overnight that while they are open to meeting with Secoulis, it's not going to happen anytime soon. Their main goal for this trip is to get her to return to the UK. Robin.
All right, Eva, thank you. We're going to bring in our Chief Legal Analyst, Dan Abrams. A lot of talk, of course, about diplomatic immunity.
Yeah.
Just explain to everyone what that means.
Yeah, so it means that when you go to another country as a diplomat, so a U.S. diplomats go to England or France or Italy or wherever the case may be, they're granted a type of immunity. It means that we want to be able to keep our people safe in another country, even if they're charged with a crime. Same thing applies, by the way, to those diplomats who are here in the United States. They are afforded immunity. It does create tension sometimes when people believe that a diplomat has done something really bad. Typically what happens in that kind of case is the country where the person is from can waive immunity. They can say, aha, okay, this is serious, we get it, we're going to waive immunity. The U.S. did not waive immunity in this case. And so while they're talking about the fact that the immunity doesn't apply, it's not entirely true, because if she were charged in the UK and they said, okay, we're going to charge her with manslaughter, we'd like her extradited to the United Kingdom, I don't think the U.S. would agree to that.
Okay, so nothing can be done. She's here.
Correct.
Unless the U.S. agrees to send her back.
I think that's right. But the only thing that could happen now, as Eva points out, is there could be a civil lawsuit. So she could either be sued by the family in England or potentially here, meaning you sue her in England, she doesn't come to the trial, etc. But you could sue her potentially here as well. So the family does have civil options. And keep in mind, we don't know that she's going to be charged criminally, right? At this point, they're still investigating. You know, there's indications that, again, she was driving on the wrong side of the road. The British authorities could conclude that this was simply an accident, that there's no criminal liability, but still the potential for civil.
Right. And the family can actually ask for that civil lawsuit at any point?
Yeah, so the family can move forward and try and sue, and the question's going to be, where do they try and sue? I mean, typically, of course, something happens in England, you sue in England. But in a case like this, because you're talking about an American citizen, it is possible that could end up in an American court, and then there'd be questions about what law applies, et cetera.
A lot of people watching this.
Yep.
All right, thanks, Dan.